Let's see how crunchy these are. Now, if you've been wanting to make some french fries at home but you don't want to deep fry them, then today I'm going to show you how we can do them another method or another way by baking them. Now, this is a little longer, it does take a little more time to do it, but then again, it's another good option if you don't want to fry at home. So guys, welcome to my channel. My name is James. Before we get going today, be sure to like the video down below, subscribe to my channel as well if you happen to like the video, and let's get baking. So the potato that we're going to be using today are Kennebec potatoes. If you can't find Kennebecs, then russet potatoes will work. And if you're in England as well, then well, maybe if you can get your hands on some King Edwards or some other variations as well, this could be a good substitute. But I'm in Spain and I honestly didn't think I was going to get this potato because it's an American one and I can find it pretty easily. But the specific thing about Kennebecs is that they are a potato that's specifically for frying and chips. Kennebec potatoes are a hybrid potato. It was developed 50 plus years ago, and actually the chip companies were the first ones using the Kennebec potatoes just to make all their chips, like Lay's potato chips, for example. And it's only within the past 10 or so years that restaurants have started picking up on this trend of using the Kennebecs instead of russet or other varieties for the chips, because it fries a lot better, has a higher starch content, and there's a little less moisture in it as well, which when you're frying, moisture is not a good thing. Now, regardless of which potato that you're going to use, you can leave the skin on if you want to make these chips. If you are leaving the skin on though, scrub the skin extremely well, get all the dirt off. And if you're going to do what I'm doing, I'm going to peel them, then I'll show you an easy method. What we're going to do is we're going to do everything in the sink, so all the mess is in the sink. I'm first going to take a pot out of my drawer. I'm going to fill this up with water. Then I'm going to take my potatoes and I'm going to start peeling. So when you're peeling a potato, I like to hold mine more or less like this in one hand and my peeler like this. I'm actually going to hold my peeler as close to the blades as possible. I'm just going to start at the top, work down, and as I'm peeling, I'm slowly going to turn the potato. And then if you see any spots like this on any of the potatoes, that's what this little thing here, this little blade is for on your peeler. You're just going to dig in and pop it out. Now the reason for the water is that I'm going to put the potatoes, once I'm finished peeling them, into the water so they don't oxidize, and this will allow us not to rust so much in the kitchen. Now to cut the potatoes, you can cut these in any way, shape or form that you want. Today I'm going to show you how to cut them into about 1.5 centimeter batons or little sticks, traditional fry shape. So first I'm going to take my knife, take the potato, and I'm going to cut a portion of the potato off so it doesn't roll on me while I'm cutting. This is a very important tip. You just cut a little off to have a flat side so then it doesn't roll. Then I'm going to square off the sides and I'm going to eye it more or less, about 1.5 centimeter cuts. After you do your little cuts, I'm going to turn them, cut again. If you aren't very good at using your knife, I would suggest doing them one by one. Once you get a little better at cutting potatoes, then you can stack them and speed up the process a little bit. Once you have everything peeled and cut, now I'm going to take my pot of potatoes. I'm going to strain the water. I'm going to fill the pot up with cold water. I'm going to put that on the stovetop, or on the induction in my case. Oh, and by the way, if you're using an induction, make sure that the bottom of the pot is dry before putting it on the induction. Otherwise it won't work properly. Now I'm going to lightly season the water. This is important. You want to season it. It adds flavor to the potatoes. I'm going to bring this up to a strong simmer. And once it comes up to a simmer, I'm going to put about 8 minutes on my clock just to keep an eye on them. Now this is important. What we're doing right now is called parboiling. And parboiling means partially boiled. So this helps speed up the process of us cooking. Now once the timer goes off, I strongly suggest that you keep an eye on these, because you want to take them out, you want to remove them from the water just before they start falling apart. And this can be a little tricky, but it's better to err on the side of caution and take them out a little before than too late. Otherwise you're going to end up with potato soup. Once they are almost coming apart or almost falling apart, I'm going to strain the water, and I can leave them in the pan and strain them, but be gentle with them. I'm then going to take my oven tray. I'm gonna pour a little bit of oil on the bottom of it. I'm having to cheat a little bit because one, I don't have a wire rack, which you should have to do this properly, and I've moved recently, so it's not with me. You can also put oven paper down if you want as well. Then I'm going to take the potatoes, space them out as best I can, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge. And the reason why is because the potatoes now, once you take them out of the water, the moisture inside of them is evaporating, and we want it to evaporate faster. So the best place to put that is in the fridge. And the reason why? Because the air in the fridge is dry. This is a method that we use in the kitchen professionally when making chips or big fries, and well, on wire racks of course, and it works very well. It's also a good idea to preheat the oven while the potatoes are cooling down. Then you're going to pour olive oil all over the sheet tray and cover the potatoes, either with your hands or if you have a little brush. Now you know exactly what that little brush is for. Things like this. So brush the potatoes, and you can also, here's a little tip, to put a little bit of texture on the potatoes, you can use that brush, depending on what type it is, to rough the potatoes up a little bit by dabbing them. I actually have a recipe for roasted baked potatoes, really good recipe, which I have to make sometime. So the next holiday, or actually when I get a better oven, I'll make it. Once all this is done, I'm going to put the potatoes in the oven. Again, make sure your oven is at about 225. My oven, I have to turn up as high as it will go because this oven honestly doesn't cook. Put the timer on for about 12 to 14 minutes. They will take a little longer. The thicker you cut them, the longer they're going to take to bake. The thicker the cut, the longer it takes, and the longer you're going to have to wait. If they start to dry out on you in the oven, take them out, put a little more olive oil on them, and once they start to brown enough, I would suggest flipping them in the oven as well, turning them, and then putting them back into the oven. Now, if you need to crisp them, or if you need to brown them a little faster because they're done, I would suggest putting them on broil and watching them, because this is one of those things that can happen within a millisecond between being a little golden brown and a little too overdone. So once they're finished though, and this will take about 20 plus minutes, again depending on the size, take them out of the oven, take a little bowl, put some paper towels in it, put the fries into the bowl, let them cool off a little bit, season them with a little bit of salt or a little bit of parsley or anything else that you will like, whatever your preference is, and now we're going to taste. Okay, so now it's crunch time. Let's see how crunchy these are. So guys, you can get these extremely crispy, but there is a bit of a limitation. These do take a little bit of time to make because this is not the traditional way of making French fries, which is, in my opinion, a lot easier and faster. But again, if you don't want to use that much oil, because it's not feasible to always use that much oil, this could be a good option for you as well. So guys, for any other recipes or any questions or comments, be sure to write me down below. I have other recipes on my channel as well if you want to check them out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care.